Delivery room, 1:15 a.m. I have just been born. In a few moments, a nurse named Evelyn Moore will walk in. She will quietly pick me up and swap me with another infant. In my past life, she succeeded. I spent 20 years growing up in a cramped, rented room, living a life of misery. By the time I stumbled upon the truth and tried to reclaim my biological family, I was served a cup of poison tea by the imposter, sending me straight to the underworld. But this life, everything is different. I spent 10 years in the underworld, tirelessly accumulating merit, until I finally earned this chance to start over from the very beginning. My eyes are glued to the wall clock, silently calculating. Exactly 1 hour and 45 minutes left. In 1 hour and 45 minutes, Evelyn Moore will push that door open. She will say she's taking the baby for newborn screening. My mother, exhausted, won't suspect a thing. Then, Evelyn will carry me to the storage room at the end of the hallway. Her cousin Grace Hall is already waiting there, cradling another newborn girl. 2 wristbands. Taken off. Swapped. 3 minutes. Ella Lewis becomes Ella Hall. Avery Hall becomes Avery Lewis. In my previous life, that was how they stole 20 years of my existence. But now, I am just a newborn. I can't speak, I can't roll over, I can't even hold up my own head. I have only 3 weapons: cry, grip, and stay awake. But that is enough. 10 years in the underworld taught me one thing. A mother's intuition for her child is the sharpest alarm in the world. I just need to trigger it. Mother holds me for a while, her eyelids beginning to droop. Father whispers beside her, "Go to sleep, honey. I'll watch her." No. In my past life, it was because Father couldn't endure the late hour and went to lie on the sofa that Evelyn Moore found her opening. I don't need Father to watch me. I need Mother to hold me, so close that no one can separate us. Mother is about to place me back into the crib. Wah! I erupt into a piercing shriek, not a normal cry, but a gut-wrenching scream. Startled, Mother hurriedly pulls me back into her arms. What's wrong? What's wrong? There, don't cry. The moment she pulls me against her chest, I go dead silent. My wide, teary eyes fix on her, and my tiny hand grips her hospital gown, refusing to let go. Mother freezes. Look at how tight she's holding on. It's as if she's terrified I'll put her down. Father reaches out to take me. Wah! Even louder. Even more ear-splitting. Father recoils in shock. I burrow back into Mother's embrace, instantly calm, clutching her collar. Father is caught between tears and laughter. Only 2 hours old and she already knows how to find her mother? Tears shimmer in Mother's eyes. She only seems to recognize me. She tightens her arms, pressing me to her heart. Then I won't let go. I'm holding her to sleep tonight. 2 a.m. Father is snoring on the sofa. Mother is drowsy too, but every 10 minutes I let out a soft whimper. Just enough to keep her in a state of half-consciousness. 2:30. 2:40. 2:50. My heart beats faster and faster. 2:55 a.m. Faint footsteps echo at the end of the hall. Rubber soles on tile. Nearly silent, but I hear them. The footsteps stop outside the door. The handle turns slowly. A woman in a white lab coat enters, mid-30s, average build, wearing a practiced, professional smile. She's pushing a newborn bassinet. Evelyn Moore, I've waited 10 years for you. She lowers her voice. Mrs. Lewis, sorry to disturb your rest. Hospital policy requires us to take the baby for newborn metabolic screening. Just a heel prick will bring her right back. Mother opens her eyes groggily. Screening? Now? Usually scheduled 2 to 4 hours after birth. It's easier while the baby is quiet. Smooth talk. A gentle, professional tone. This was exactly how Mother was fooled before. Mother's grip begins to loosen. This is it. Wah! My cry explodes in the room. I kick, I thrash, I tremble. I curl my tiny body into a ball, anchoring myself to Mother's chest. My 10 tiny fingers dig into her gown as if I'm welded to her. Mother is startled, instinctively pulling me even closer. What's wrong, baby? Father bolts upright from the sofa. What happened? Evelyn Moore's smile stiffens for a fraction of a second before she recovers. Mr. Lewis, it's just a routine check. The talking probably woke her up. Father looks at me, sobbing as if my heart is breaking, then glares at Evelyn Moore. Does this test have to be done right now? Hospital regulations. My daughter is distressed. We'll do it tomorrow during the day. Evelyn's lip twitches. Besides, Father walks to the door and glances down the hallway. I don't believe you're the nurse on duty for this floor tonight. The air freezes for 2 seconds. I'm covering for a colleague. An emergency. Father says nothing, his gaze darkening. Then please have the manager arrange it tomorrow. Tonight is not convenient. Evelyn Moore opens her mouth to argue, but Father is already sitting by the bed, one hand on Mother's shoulder, the other patting my back. His posture is clear. Get out. Evelyn's gaze lingers on me for a few seconds. Through my blurry, tear-filled vision, I see the cold, dark malice in her eyes. Then she turns and pushes the empty cart out. I stop crying and nestle into Mother's warmth. Father doesn't go back to the sofa. He stays by the bed, watching over us. The next morning, the sun streams through the blinds. I pretend to be the perfect angel baby. The first thing Mother does is look at me. She's overjoyed to find me staring back. Honey, look. She's watching me. Father reaches out. I scowl and pout. He retreats, embarrassed. Fine, fine. Daddy won't touch. I'm just looking. I want everyone to know this child only recognizes her mother. No one, absolutely no one, is taking me away from her. By the afternoon, Father is on the phone in the hallway. Investigate a nurse for me. Evelyn Moore. Also, pull the CCTV footage from the third-floor maternity ward from last night. Good. Father isn't a fool. As a man who built his empire in security technology, he is naturally sharp. He's already hunting. 2 p.m. An uninvited guest arrives. A woman in her 30s, wearing floral patient scrubs, peeks into the room. Mrs. Lewis? Hi? I'm in room 206. Name's Hall. I just had a girl yesterday, too. Since we share a birthday, I thought I'd stop by. Grace Hall. Evelyn Moore's cousin, the biological mother of the fake heiress, Avery Hall. In my last life, she was the one who shoved her daughter into the Lewis family to steal my life. She smiles, but a flicker of coldness passes through her eyes as she looks at me. Oh, she's so precious. Can I hold her? She reaches out. My skin crawls. I explode. I scream until my face turns purple, limbs flailing wildly. Mother pulls me back. I'm so sorry. She's very strange with people. She cries if anyone but me holds her. Grace Hall draws back, awkward. No worries. Babies, right? She stays for 30 minutes, talking about formula and diapers, slowly inching closer. Every time she gets within 3 steps of my bassinet, I groan. When she moves back, I'm quiet. Mother notices. She doesn't say anything, but she holds me tighter. After Grace leaves, Mother whispers, Baby, you don't like that lady, do you? I nuzzle her palm. Mother's smile turns serious. Okay, I hear you. We'll keep her away. Day of discharge. Father arrives with 4 bodyguards and 2 armored SUVs. Upgrade the home security. Not a single blind spot. Install smart alarms in the nursery. Real-time alerts to my phone for any entry. Reveal the nannies. I want a 3-generation background check on everyone. Returning to the Lewis mansion, I finally enter as the true heiress. In my past life, I was 20. I wore a 100 yuan dress and clutched a crumpled DNA report, trembling as the gate guards blocked me. Who are you looking for? This isn't where you belong. But now, the butler opens the car door. The nannies roll out the red carpet. Grandfather stands at the door, beaming. My eldest granddaughter is home. Let me see her. I scowl, but I don't cry. In my past life, Grandfather was good to me. He was the first one who wanted to give me my inheritance. I just turn my head and hide in Mother's neck. Grandfather laughs. She's just like her mother. Once she chooses her person, 9 bulls couldn't pull her away. Good. She's got character. Grandmother stands behind him in a dark red cheongsam. Her smile is polite, but her eyes are different. When she looks at me, there is only scrutiny. Oh, what a lovely child. Just like her mother. She reaches out to touch my face. I burst into tears. Small, pitiful, wounded sobs. Grandmother's hand freezes. I know that look. She opposed the marriage. She thought mother wasn't high-born enough. She preferred Uncle Andrew's side because his wife was her niece. To her, the second branch was her real family. 2 days before my 1-month celebration. 11 p.m. Mother is asleep. Father is in the study. The nursery is quiet. Click. The door handle turns. A dark figure approaches my crib. I recognize the scent. Maid Clark, grandmother's confidant for 20 years. Her hand reaches for my blanket. Wah! Wah! The smart alarm is triggered. Piercing sirens blare through the villa. Within 20 seconds, Father bursts in. Maid Clark? What are you doing? She trembles, hand frozen in mid-air. I heard the baby crying. Father pulls up the footage on his phone. It clearly shows her entering and going straight for the crib to take me. Tell the truth. Father's voice is cold as a blade. Who sent you? Maid Clark breaks under pressure when the police arrive. Mr. Lewis, I'm sorry. Someone gave me $500,000, told me to take the baby out tonight and hand her over. The phone records show the same number that was in Evelyn Moore's phone. The location? Elysian Crest, the home of Andrew Lewis, Father's younger brother. Father is silent for a full minute before calling grandfather. Dad, I found out. Andrew is the one behind this. Grandfather's voice is heavy. I know. Don't startle the snake yet. The 1-month party proceeds as planned. I'll handle it then. The party is grand. 300 tables, the elite of the capital. Grandfather takes the stage. Today I officially announce the establishment of an education trust for Ella. An initial deposit of $50 million. Furthermore, I am transferring 5% of the Lewis Group shares to Ella's name. The room gasps. A 1-month-old with a $50 million trust and 5% of a conglomerate. Uncle Andrew stands up, his smile rigid. Dad, isn't that a bit early? Traditional Lewis policy is merit-based. Grandfather doesn't even look up from his tea. Andrew, when you were 25 and I gave you startup capital that you lost entirely, was that too early? Andrew turns pale. This is my money, Grandfather says slowly. I give it to whom I choose. Do you have an objection? Later, I overhear Grandfather in the study. Don't bother investigating anymore. I've known there was something wrong with your mother and Andrew for 3 years. I've been waiting for them to expose themselves. Now, the fish has bitten the hook. I lie in Mother's arms, my heart skipping a beat. Grandfather knew everything. He was playing a game much larger than I imagined. As peace seemingly returns to the Lewis house, I know the undercurrents are still churning. By the time I was 2 months old, I already knew how to roll over. 3 months old, I could hold my head up steady. 4 months, I could sit. 5 months, 2 tiny teeth sprouted. Mother recorded every milestone with feverish excitement in her little journal. When I hit 5 months, I mastered a new skill, meaningful phonation. Mama, Mother burst into tears on the spot. Honey, she said it. She called me Mama. Father rushed over, as giddy as a schoolboy. Come on, baby. Say Dada, da, Mama. Try again. Dada, Mama. Father's face fell. I chuckled inwardly. It wasn't that I couldn't say it. It just wasn't the right time. I was saving those 2 syllables for the most critical moment. When I turned 6 months old, Father threw a belated 100-day banquet. He insisted that Ella's prestige could not be compromised. If it was late, it had to be twice as grand. It was held at the crown jewel of the Lewis Hotel chain, twice the scale of the birth party. The elite of the capital flocked to the event. The news of the Lewis prodigy had already spread. In the inner circles of high society, I was dubbed the lucky koi of the Lewis family. On stage, Father dropped the bombshell. I've decided to add another $100 million to Ella's private trust and increase her shares in the Lewis Group from 5% to 15%. Ella is the firstborn of the primary branch and the future heir of the Lewis Empire. As of today, this is set in stone. The hall erupted in thunderous applause. Uncle Andrew, sitting in the corner, turned livid. He slammed his glass down and bolted upright. Brother, you've gone too far. Our parents are still here. What right do you have to decide the succession on your own? You aren't the only son in this family." The room went deathly silent. Uncle Andrew's voice rose to a roar. 15% for a 6-month-old? Just because she can babble, Mama? What about my son? He is Lewis blood too. Enough. Grandfather's voice was quiet, but it crushed the noise instantly. He set down his teacup and looked at Andrew. "Andrew, you say your son is Lewis blood? Then let me ask you one thing. 3 years ago, who introduced the clinic that performed your wife's IVF treatment?" The air froze. Andrew's expression shifted. Grandmother stood up abruptly. "Old man, you—" "Sit down," Grandfather commanded. He pulled a brown manila envelope from his breast pocket. "This is the DNA report for Andrew's son. I had it done 3 months ago. The boy is not Andrew's. He is not a Lewis." A collective gasp swept the room. Andrew's wife turned white as a sheet. Grandfather's gaze shifted to grandmother. "Would you like to explain to everyone whose old classmate the hospital director is? How the samples were swapped, and where the secret son you had years ago is hiding now?" Grandmother began to shake violently. How did you know?" Grandfather didn't answer. He walked toward me, reached down, and gently stroked my head with his calloused hand. Then I opened my mouth. Clearly and deliberately, I released the 2 words I had held back for so long. "Grand, PA." Grandfather's eyes reddened. He scooped me up from Mother's arms and pressed me to his chest. He turned to face the crowd. "Did you hear that? My granddaughter called me Grandpa. This is the true, legitimate blood of the Lewis family. Anyone who dares touch her—" He glared at grandmother and Andrew. "I will erase them from the Lewis genealogy myself." 3 days later, the judgment of the Lewis house took place. Grandfather laid out the entire chain of evidence: photos, recordings, and paper trails. 30 years ago, you had a child with a man named Miller in the countryside. That son is now Robert Miller, a small-time trader. 3 years ago, you swapped the IVF samples. That child is Robert Miller's son, not Andrew's, not ours. Grandfather's voice was eerily calm, but his hands were trembling. Andrew's wife collapsed, realizing her husband was complicit in her betrayal. Grandmother threw herself at grandfather's feet, begging for mercy, claiming she did it for the good of the family. "For the good of the family?" Grandfather spat. "You tried to steal my granddaughter and replace her with an outsider because you only ever cared about your secret son. You never saw this house as your home." The verdict was final. 1. Grandmother, immediate divorce, zero-sum settlement. All shares revoked and transferred to my trust. 2. Uncle Andrew, all ties severed, assets frozen, revoked shares. "You and your mother," Grandfather said, "leave together." As grandmother was escorted away, she looked at me one last time. Her eyes were a complex storm of resentment, regret, and something else I couldn't name. I stared back, cold and unwavering. In my past life, she had signed my death warrant by allowing the swap. In this life, being cast out was a mercy. After the storm, the Lewis house found true peace. I entered hyper-growth mode. 7 months fluent in mama, dada, grandpa. 10 months, first steps. 1 year, speaking in full, short sentences. When I was 1.5, Uncle Andrew and Robert Miller tried to strike back with a smear campaign on social media, painting mother and father as cold-blooded for kicking out an old lady. I sat on the rug, watching the news. I had 10 years of underworld records in my head. I knew how information wars worked. I crawled to father, tugged his pant leg, and pointed at the TV, then at his phone. I led them to create a day-in-the-life video, showing the warmth and reality of our home. The counter-narrative worked. Within a week, public opinion flipped. The police traced the smear campaign back to Robert Miller's office. He was bankrupt. Andrew was jailed for financial crimes. Fast forward. 8 years old. I sat in on father's board meetings, sketching mind maps that looked like child's play to others, but were actually strategic analyses. 12 years old. I officially began apprenticing. I crushed a malicious takeover attempt by Robert Miller, who had tried to resurface in just 3 days by cross-referencing shell company registrations. My 18th birthday. The first snow of winter fell on the Capitol. I stood at the top of the Lewis Tower, dressed in gold. Grandfather handed me a jade seal engraved with my name, Ella. From this day on, you are the largest individual shareholder. This house, this company, it's yours. Amidst the cheers, an assistant whispered, CEO Lewis, someone is at the door. An old acquaintance. I walked out into the snow. A girl stood there, 18 years old, same birth date as me. She wore a faded puffer jacket, clutching a thick dossier. Avery Hall. In my past life, she wore Chanel and served me poison. In this life, she stood in the cold, her nose red. Hi, my name is Avery Hall. I want to show you something. I opened the dossier. It was a startup proposal. The Ella Guardian System, a multi-layered biometric tracking system for newborns, iris, fingerprints, and umbilical DNA to ensure no baby could ever be swapped again. She looked at me, her eyes red. I grew up in an orphanage. After my mother went to jail, I received anonymous funding for my education from the Lewis Group. I know it was you. I'm not here to beg. I just wanted you to know. I didn't turn out bad. I want to make sure no other child is ever stolen again. I looked at her. In one life, she was my killer. In this, she was a girl who chose a different path. I took my pen and signed the investment intent. I'll invest. On one condition. What is it? Don't change the company name. She froze, then laughed through her tears. As I walked back into the warmth of my home, to my parents and my grandfather, I realized some debts aren't paid with blood. They are paid by making sure the tragedy never happens again. This was my home. And I had finally brought everyone home.